Now some questions.
In your book, you mention that we should maintain an attitude of compassion to people who do us harm. What is the appropriate emotional response to ideologies which are harmful, such as Stalinism, Maoism, ISIS, etc.? What is the appropriate response?
According to our practice, the enemy is best teacher. So through enemy, you learn how to practice patience and forgiveness. So Shantideva, one Indian master, stated, enemy is your best teacher. The patience, practice of patience and tolerance. So like that. And then you see the practice of altruism, entire sentient beings, should consider your best friend. And then, no question, 7 billion human beings are your best friend. So therefore, enemy who criticize Tibetan culture. Now, for example, some narrow-minded Chinese communists, they actually try to destroy Tibetan knowledge. We feel more sense of pity, not anger. So, for example, and 그들의 별한 장례시하디, 기주, 가. 2008. There was some suppression in Tibet. So at that time, I actually used to visualize some of these Chinese authority and then practice of give and take. Give means my compassion, my sense of compassion, forgiveness, these things, through visualization, give them. And take their fear, their anger. So such practice, actually, not much, because of no help, the actual problem. But that kind of practice really immense help to keep peace of mind. So through that way, compassion towards your enemy. It's very, very useful. Okay.
Hello. Sorry. Yeah, can I ask my question? Okay. So, in your book, as well as in your talk today, you talked about how in India, different religions have worked together and there is religious harmony and things like that. The question I have is that India, the major religion, Hinduism, is a polytheistic religion. Now, if you happen to be subscribing to a faith or a religious faith that is monotheistic, now for a normal person belonging to that religion, when they come across another religion which is also monotheistic, but it's a different God, now, if you want to look at the situation from their point of view, you must necessarily accept the existence of another God. And for a normal person, it might be that it questions the most fundamental of your core beliefs. In the Hindu religion, once you accept multiple gods, if someone else brings a new one, it is very easy to accept that. So my question finally is that what would your advice be for people who are, subscribing to only one God and their own God?
Actually, what you may call Hinduism, or most ancient, earliest Indian tradition, Sangha philosophy, over 3,000 years. So then Jainism Buddhism eventually developed on the basis of ancient Indian thought. So, over the Sankhya philosophy, the main sort of, as I mentioned earlier, tolerance, patience, and these things, and then wisdom to analyze. So the Buddhist sort of terminology, the practice of Shila, practice of Shamatha, practice of Vipassana, these are from Sankhya philosophy. Then Jainism also, you see, based on these three practices. And Buddhism also, three practices. So Hinduism is the foundation of all Indian religion. So there are similarities, except concept of Atma and Anatma. Buddhism, Anatma. All religion believe Atma. Atma means separate soul from this body and mind. The Buddhism knows such independent, separate sort of soul. The soul or self is designated on the combination of body and mind, like that. So basically, the Buddhism, you see, come from Hinduism, like that. So Hinduism is ancient, Indian tradition that eventually, you see, developed many branches, okay, like that. So Hinduism, Buddhism is something very unique, like twin brothers, sisters, like that, okay.
His Holiness, when practicing compassion, how do you know when you're acting with love?
Love. So compassion, there are two levels. One, compassion, I think usually very much mixed with attachment. Now, genuine compassion without attachment. So test sense of concern, of well-being, your enemy. That is a real compassion, no attachment. This is sense of concern, your friend, close friend, some sense of sort of well-being of them is very much mixed with attachment. So therefore, the even sort of test or sort of or compassion, or you should look your enemy, troublemaker, then you feel genuine sense of concern, closeness feeling. Then that is genuine compassion. Okay.
Your Holiness, my question is directly in your life experiences. You mentioned Sankhya philosophy. What other aspects of ancient Hindu traditions and philosophy, especially from the Upanishads, did you read them? Did you study them? Did you meditate upon them to actually get how critical inquiry or jnana plays in the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, and how would you recommend that we would apply those ancient Indian traditions to the modern scientific world, which we are all pursuing? I know you made the comments of the two, but give us some practical words of how to do it.
Okay. Basically, the Sankhya philosophy and the ancient, earliest Indian tradition is to carry the message of compassion and ahimsa, non-violence, and compassion. Ahimsa, karuna. So then all these different Indian tradition, all branch of that. So some different philosophical views, even within Buddhism, there are different school of thought. and particularly in the Nalanda tradition, Vibhashek, Sotantik, Chitta Mantra, and Madhyamika. And within these four major school of thought, is the subdivisions. So, human mental sort of also the dispositions, right? So there are differences. So different philosophy. And Buddha himself, you see, taught different philosophy. But all, you see, ultimate source is India's ahimsa and karuna. Okay.
Oh,
Yes? I think first, female.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I'm sorry, I don't know how to properly hold my scarf and ask the question. You've been asked many questions throughout your life. We were wondering, what is one question you haven't been asked but would like to answer or speak to? Thank you.
No, I don't know. I think the Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition, there are a lot of questions raised. For example, myself, I think 7, 8 years old, already started the Nalanda tradition. So the way we study, firstly, memorize all the root text, wrote by Indian masters, and then commentary, mainly wrote by Indian masters, and then, of course, Tibetan commentary, also is very useful. So then we very much sort of use debate. So when we carry debate, always use the because of contradiction, try to
pick.
when we carry debate, we are expecting some contradiction from the
From the opponent. Contradictory positions from the opponents.
From the opponent's way. When we find some contradiction and we feel very happy, then you have sort of debate more serious, and the opposite
Opponents' position.
opponents. You see, or there are some cases. You see the top scholar and very honest. So answer everything as a right answer. Then you see the debater. You see, usually you see very sort of fond debate, but in that case, he sort of not much debate. So later, some of his sort of disciple, you see, asked that person, "Why today you are not much debate? Why?" Then his answer is,
Because the person who was actually giving the answers was giving answers with full reason. I mean, there was nothing that he could actually pick and contradict his position.
So therefore, you see, the practice debate, that's very, very helpful and sharpening our mind. So that's a Nalanda tradition. Then I think once 8th century, the one Nalanda master reached Tibet, he introduced the logical approach. So then some Tibetan master also wrote some certain text. So with Tibet, our Tibetan Buddhist tradition, particularly in those big monastic institutions, we extensively use debate. So that's very helpful, sharpening our mind, and also memory. And sharpening mind, very helpful to Gyön Truyati.
It's very helpful to pick on others' we call faults.
Your Holiness, you mentioned that destructive emotion is basically sourced or based on appearance,
Oh, yes.
and constructive emotions are based on reality. What is reality?
As I mentioned earlier, there is big gap, appearance and reality, even according to quantum physics. Appearance is that the things exist objectively. That if you think deeper way, nothing exists as appears. Nothing exists objectively. So that's now some student of quantum physics, you see, some student, mainly in one big university, in Lenzhou University in China. Now, there's some student, they wrote some article. They mentioned the quantum physicist. You see, things does not exist as appears. You see, that very useful, or that makes, that affects, you see, some kind of grasping.
So when you're able to feel convinced that things don't exist the way they appear to us, then it actually helps to reduce your clinging or grasping at some solidity in things.
So some quantum physics student, now they already sort of found that way. So that's exactly the Buddhist philosophy, Nalendra tradition, their psychology. You see, they mentioned all destructive emotion, you see, based on
So these destructive emotions are based on some kind of inappropriate attention to things.
So that's according to quantum physics is similar. You see, all destructive emotion based on appearances. So appearances think more deeper way, nothing exists as appears. So that's exactly Nagarjuna philosopher, you see, mentioned that. And also, according to my own experience, that very, very helpful to reduce destructive emotion, such as anger, like that. Okay, next question.
In today's world, there is like a lot of anger and lot of anxiety, and lot of material things are happening. People are more materialistic. In Buddhism, we teach compassion, kindness. How do you bring this together? Like when your surrounding is like all materialistic, anger and everything, how do you bring compassion, kindness and other things which Buddhism emphasizes?
As we already discussed, secular way. So, world need more compassion here. Not thinking next life or not thinking religion, but simply our day-to-day life and world at large. A lot of problem due to jealousy, anger, suspicion, these things. So we have to, in order, now world peace, everybody say world peace, world peace. World peace through inner peace. World peace with weapon, impossible to world peace. So we have to deal with mental level without touching religion.
Yeah. Your Holiness, can you please help me understand a certain aspect of Buddhism? My understanding is that in Buddhism, as you already said, there is no soul that survives the destruction of the body. But Buddhism also says that there is karma. Now, if there is nothing that survives the destruction of the body, how is it that something can carry forward from this body to, let's say, the next one? What is the thing that provides continuity? Because in my understanding in Hinduism, which also believes in karma, the Jivatma is wrapped in the karma of the current birth, and then it carries forward with the karma into the next birth, and then the karma disappears. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my question.
According to the non-Buddhist, the separate soul. So that soul, no beginning, no end. So life after life. So also the karmic link on the basis of also the Atma. So similarly, Buddhism do not accept a separate sort of soul, but because of the sentient being, because of that means or self is there as just designation on the combination of body and mind. Then body and mind both on grosser level and more subtle level and very, very most subtle level. So for example, body, this grosser level, and dream time, sometimes some special dream, you see, you can separate from this body. So that is more subtler body. And most subtle sort of level is after death. You see, mind and very subtle level body. So mind also is in grosser level with sensorial sort of mind. That's in grosser level. Then dream time, or more subtle level. Then faint, more deeper mind. So deepest at the time of death, dying. So that mind, no beginning, no end, so goes life after life. So that's the basis of karma. A previous life creates some action that impact on that subtle mind, so that carry life after life. Okay.
Your Holiness, may I know your views on what happens to a soul which has been, or a person who has been good and has done good things in his life? Does he attain oneness with the Creator? And do you meet up with your loved ones after death as an Atma?
So now this is related with concept of Creator or theistic religion, and non-theistic, no Creator, but rather self-creation. So Creator, just this one life. This life, this very life created by God. The non-theistic religion, life after life, go like that. So it's a different explanation due to different sort of philosophical view, whether there is belief Creator or not. So Buddhism, Jainism, and one part of Sankhyism, no Creator. So this soul, life after life, go like that. Then they sort of identify the soul, self. There are differences. Okay.
Your Holiness, as an extension to this, in Tibetan Buddhism, what is the concept of enlightenment and self-realization? And the understanding that is given that desirelessness is the way to that self-realization. What is your perspective on desires? How do we deal with desires towards the end objective?
Desire, there are two kinds. One desire is I want to be a good human being. That's good desire. I want to be among the student, I want to be top class. Good. So desire, there are realistic desire, unrealistic desire, and desire is in order to you gain something and create problem to other. That is a negative desire. So there are variety. When we talk about mind, emotion, there are so many variety. So it is in order to develop ahimsa, I feel it is very important to know the map of emotion and mind. So we already, with cooperation with government college here, we already sort of some program in education, the teaching about the ancient Indian knowledge about emotion, the variety of mind, variety of emotion as an academic subject. It's very important. Okay. Thank you.